All right, this just came off my other printer. This is the head of the dragon. Basically what I did is to avoid any kind of supports at all. You can see here that I cut the head in half, okay, so that the flat side is on the build plate and the flat side here is on the build plate. So this part will be glued to the back part of this. Okay, so right here is the ears. These areas right here, one right there and one right there, is the actual ears, the tips of the ears, which are right here. So basically when this portion is flipped up, okay, let's just say with the ears, it will be glued to the back portion of the jaw, or the back of the head right there. So you can see here, everything's there. We got all the little spikes sticking out. And the reason I did that is because if I printed the head in the up orientation, all these spikes would be pointing in the wrong direction, or in a direction that would require supports. So being that this is flat to the table and the spikes are pointing upward, it was much easier for the printer to print the spikes upward rather than outward. And the same goes with the jaw. You would need supports right here in the mouth because it would be placed this way. And of course, the upper part of the mouth, the lower part of the jaw would all need supports. And you can see here, no supports required. Okay, so just wanted to share that with you. I did shrink the model down a bit, which makes it a little more complicated for a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. It would have printed better with a 0.2 millimeter, but 0.4 is all I had. So right now it is currently printing the body, which is on this printer, and you can see here, there's the body. No supports for here either. Basically the head will be glued right there on that flat spot. These two portions right here will join, all right? So the reason there's no supports is because all of this is supported by itself, okay? So since the lower part printed fine on the table flat, everything builds off of that. So this indeed started out as a single portion. This was a single portion, and they're going to join right here in the center, right at the spot that you see the printer printing right now. Okay, the reason that you need some support is because the tail actually had no support under it at all, and it hangs out slightly away from the main body. So I added these 5 little supports. They're called T supports, not tree supports. And this over here is another T support. It kind of looks like a golf tee. Okay, so I added the little T support right here. That's all that's required because the rest of the print didn't need support at all. It doesn't need support up in here or around here or over there or in the back or on the other side. You can see the tail finishing up. So this little portion right here will be clipped off, okay, right there. So that's all the support needed because the tail did indeed stick out and almost at a 90-degree angle. So there was a little bit too much of a angle here, or not the angle that's required to not use support. So I did add this little T support, not tree, T, and these right here. And from then on, the model just takes care of itself. It's in place already. Everything's standing on the bed as it should be, and no brim, no raft, no messy Elmer's glue stick. So you can see right there, these points are actually joining now. All right, again, no supports here at all. It doesn't need it because, again, it will support itself as it comes up. And there's proof of it right there. Okay, so when this is done, it's got another about another 50 minutes okay, before this whole section is completed. And again, these will just be clipped off. The tail will be done because again, it's supporting itself after it passed this point. All right, let's look at the bed. Right here, it's a non-heated bed, as always, as usual. Just wanted to show that to you, right there. It's a non-heated bed. There's no enclosure at all, doesn't need it. There's no direct drive right here, doesn't need it. There's no electronic gizmo here to complicate matters because it doesn't need it. I just use the good old-fashioned, let's see if I can find it here, this here, old school tramming tool. That's it, all right? So tramming tool, the little paper tool here, it takes less than about, I don't know, a minute, less than a minute to tram the bed, if indeed it needs it, okay? It's not something that's required every time, but again, 60 seconds isn't a lot of time used up to tram the bed because once it's trammed, it'll print. And this particular print here has been shrunk down to smaller than the STL file was because again, I don't really want it bigger. It could have been bigger, but here it is printing now. Any size I want. I just happen to pick this particular size. This will be the head once it's assembled, and it's like a kit of parts. You know, 3 parts, and once it's assembled, it's done. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and show you here too. Not the metal extruder. Not required. People seem to think, oh, you got to change it to the metal extruder. No, you don't. Just change the arm. If that little lever does crack, don't change the whole damn thing because that just opens you up to so many other problems and issues, calibration, eSTEP changes, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Just keep the body, find out for yourself. Don't change it because you were told to change it and that there's going to be a problem with it. The original body was designed for this printer. It is plastic, but that's okay because it's okay. It'll always work. This has been 4.5 years. Okay, so if it crapped out right now, I'm not going to go, oh, geez, it's plastic. Anyway, that's ridiculous. So there you go. We have the white Bowden tube, not the blue tube, as usual, because the blue tube has too much friction around this curve because the inside diameter is too small. It's just smaller than the inside diameter of the white tube. This is the Bowden delivery system right here. It delivers filament from over here. All this weight is over here, not riding with the print bed. You don't want to add a bunch of weight with direct drive unless you think you want to. It's not required. As you can see here, this is printing right now. Okay, as you see it. It's not going anywhere. It's done. So there's my springs, stock springs. The yellow springs or silicone chunks of rubber are not required if you set up your bed the best it can be. That's all this is, the best it can be. And this is easy troubleshooting. Between here and here and there and there and there, there's nothing here that can go wrong. If indeed it does, it's operator error, not the problem of the printer, right? So there you go. Just wanted to show you that this is printing fine as usual.